Hey.
Nice, nice. Thank you so much for joining me today, man.
Thank you, mate. How you doing?
Bro, it's a good time, really productive time. Feeling
Yeah.
healthy, feeling in good spirits and just moving on, just moving forward.
Hey, mate. Yeah, it's a really strange time, but like you say, there's a lot of benefits to it, mate.
Yeah,
Not just,
I try not to get caught up in the emotion of it.
mm,
And by that I don't mean I'm dismissing um the truth about people that have passed away and the hard times that people are going through.
mm,
I just recognize that we've all been through moments like this in life already,
yeah.
where the future seems uncertain
Mm,
and we're dealing with a lot of pain around us.
mm,
And so we have to make a conscious decision about how we're going to respond to the emotions, respond to everything.
yeah.
And so my choice has been to just be positive about it, not dismiss the reality of it, but go, you know what? I'm going to make a choice because we're free to do that.
Yeah. That's the thing, mate. But I think it's like you're so right. But the common consensus is just to not maybe a common consensus, but there's really sort of like a prevalent thought of just being stuck in a certain place, and it's like, man, it's the fastest way to destroy any kind of happiness or any kind of hope that there is there. It's all
Yeah,
about perspective, isn't it? That's what it is. And like you say, it's a choice. It's a mental time, but geez, it's that glass half full or half empty thing, isn't it? You know,
100,
yeah,
100.
it is. You're in space, mate. I can see the whole universe is behind you. I'm impressed.
That's it, bro. We're creating our own universe over here. And I want to talk, I can't wait to talk to you about the universe you've been creating, man, because you've been inspirationally busy, from behind the scenes. And I'm going to get into you introducing yourself, but, from behind the scenes to getting hold of stuff and then creating your own, IP and so on. That's been phenomenal.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, you know what? It has been good, but I'm just grateful. You see, like there's been so many, I've been helped along by so many people, but I'm also aware that it kind of been, it wouldn't have been manifested had I not bust my ass, you know. And that's the thing. It's like, do I wait for opportunity? I can't do that. You know, if it comes, it comes. I have to make my own opportunities because I'm not getting any younger. And that's the thing. It's like, again, it's a choice. How bad do you want it? And also not feeling entitled to have it anyway. Why should anybody give me an opportunity? They haven't got to. And so, like, and to tell people why I am or why I can be of an asset to whatever they're a part of. Um, so yeah, it's been good. It's been a good few years. My son was my motivator, obviously. Last 5 years since he's been around, I've been like, yeah, just laser focus. You can't be wishy-washy and dipping my toe in here and there. And it's like, you lied to me, So there was no choice.
Absolutely. And I kind of, I really should get you to introduce yourself properly, say who you are and get more into that.
But yeah, thank you, Matt. My name is Phill Tommy. I'm a writer, director, an actor primarily. I've been lucky to work on some films as part of the stunt team as well, which has been great. But yeah, from the last 5 years, I've been writing and developing a series of films, supernatural tinged action, but with a nice storyline to it. Cain and Abel was the first one, um, and that did quite well. And then been moving on from there. The last film that came out was called Vadra. They're all short films, like 20 to 30 minutes in total. That's what it's been my main focus for the last few years. Yeah, it's been good.
And, I like to just jump straight into it, partly, I mean, I got to know you through my personal development, trying to get into film years ago, doing the British Action Academy courses, and you were such a just such a warm, encouraging presence within that course and so on. And we stayed in touch over the years. And you know, I've been inspired by seeing you pop up in these films, taking guys down and doing stuff and just bringing positive energy to the set. And we started talking recently because I posted about growing up around domestic violence and how that shaped my world and made me ask a lot of questions. And you came and you shared some things about a film that you're doing stunts in, or you did stunts in quite recently, that's getting a lot of attention because of the violence around it. I wanted to discuss that and just get your feelings
Yeah,
on that whole thing.
yeah, it was interesting. So it was a show called Gangs of London. It's on Sky at the moment, and it's causing a massive storm, positive storm, you know, because I think in terms of UK TV, there's never been anything like it. It is amazing, and there have been a few people moaning about, you know, the action and the violence, but it is a very small minority, and you can see that online. You know, that everyone is just really responding well to the actual show. Um, the biggest thing that I noticed with the show was just the diversity in it, and it doesn't seem forced either. You know, you've got like all nationalities represented, you know, different ways. There's no stereotypical bullshit in there, you know, that you normally see. It's an amazing show, but it is an action show as well. You know, there's but it's not action for the sake of action. There's like a reason behind it, you know. But yeah, I was questioned about it, about the amount of violence, you know, and not the violence in the show, but my part in it. And you know, was I comfortable in you know, in putting violence out there into the world? And when you posted about, you know, your past, it made me think about a lot of people out there, and maybe why they are, you know, why they will gravitate towards it, or if they're going to be put off it, and what the reasons are for that, you know. And I do think it was like, again, we've had similar backgrounds, I'm sure, you know, so you're kind of like born into this violence, and it's how you handle it. Again, going back to what you said at the start, mate, it's a choice, isn't it? You know, do you copy that violence, and do you spread that disease going forward into your life, or, you know, or do you heal and then find a way to utilize it to enhance what you're doing in life? You know, it's interesting. It's an interesting field, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, real talk for me. I really appreciate you sharing. I kind of growing up, as you said, we share a similar kind of upbringing in that sense, and you kind of, for me, I felt like powerless at times. I did, you know, you see someone you love getting hurt, and you're not quite sure what to do. You accept it as the norm as a kid, and then when you realize you don't want that pain to exist for that person anymore, but you can't do anything, you start to question your strength, your power, and what you're capable of doing. And I found actually, as I became a grown man, I wondered if, as a result of that, I became too nice. Like in certain situations, if I was overcompensating, and then if someone went over the line, all of that rage came back to restore the balance that you've been trying to hold back
Yeah.
in the first place. And you thought, you know, I thought to myself, man, where's the balance? And then through doing martial arts and recognizing that you can be a powerful, strong man,
Mm.
a strong individual without having to exact power or fear into someone's existence.
Mm.
In fact, you can push encouragement and love and everything else into someone's space, and that makes you a decent human being, and that's what matters, you know.
Yeah.
And it took a long time to recognize that. I just wondered what your thoughts were around those things.
I agree totally. Because the thing, you know, I think it is, you do question yourself, you do question your validity as a man, as a male. You know, we grew up in the 80s, so we was like Arnie, it was Sly Stallone, Van Damme. But on Fox with you just smash them up, throw them for a window, and that it's done. You know, it's different. You know, so when you are unable, like you said, you know, that feeling of powerlessness, whether you're a man or a woman, it's destructive. You know, and so yeah, and like you know, you do. I totally know what you mean. You know, you do try to overcompensate, and but then when you have to switch for whatever reason it may be, people around you are so shocked at the extremes because they're not used to seeing it from you. But I think that's because you haven't dealt with it. I've never been a bully in my life, so I've never been like trying to I'm somebody that didn't deserve it. But I did a lot of time on the doors, you know, and there were times where my friends may have been in danger, you know, people, you know, customers in danger, and you do what you've got to do. But and anyone that knows me knows, even on the door, knows that I'm calm, really calm, until I shouldn't be. But then it's like, again, it's finding that balance. And I was lucky, a good friend of mine called Guy List, stunt guy. You may have met him actually on the BAA, but great guy, and he's a doorman as well. And he told me to stop, and because I was telling him, you know, some of the stories some of the things that had gone on. And again, like I say, you know, it was always things that were really ended up being extreme, but not through any fault of my own. Just, you know, people trying to bottle you, trying to stab you. You can only do one thing from there, but it does stain you. That, you know, being in that environment for so long it's so fucking bad for your mental state, especially if you haven't dealt with your traumas, which is when they come out, and so you can get yourself in trouble, you know. So I hear you, mate. It's it is you know, it's trying to look in the mirror and recognize that you're not over it, and that maybe not, you know, you're not as strong as you thought you were, maybe, you know. It's like, yeah, so I'm good now, I can handle myself, and anything that happens, you know, I'm there. But it's like, yeah, but what about inside of you? It's still that little boy is still there, you know, for both of us.
Yes, the inner child,
Yeah.
still there, absolutely. And you touched on this whole thing of when you're pushed to that point where the rage comes out or has come out, people are shocked or surprised by the extremes. And one of the things I wanted to discuss, just getting real, just straight up about it, is growing up in the 80s, especially being a big black guy for a lot of people is uncomfortable to be around because they automatically often feel threatened for no reason. How did you deal with that growing up?
Well, when I was younger, I lived in Redditch, so there wasn't many black people around anyway. I had a lot of good friends around me, so it was always quite mixed. So there was like a lot of Asian guys when I got to high school, and a lot of people kind of like gelled together, you know. But there was still that element back in the 80s, especially, like, you know, like we all know this when it comes to racism, National Front. Holy shit! Anyone from Redditch will remember this. So when the National Front came to our town, and I remember like loads of the young guys, all nationalities, getting together, white, black, Asian, just smashing them up, right? So that was that. So it was you know, it was around, but there was also a real cool contingent of people that were like, we don't care about that shit. But still, there is that, you know, there is still that sort of like a stigma, especially back then. Like I say, you know, it was raw.
Yeah.
And you felt that, you know, you felt that. And again, that also leads into feelings of inadequacy and maybe times where you don't say things because you don't want to, like, say, you know, concrete this stereotype. When in actual fact you're not. You're just literally standing up for, you know, for yourself.
Yeah.
Not being mugged off, you know. So yeah.
Right. I just want to say hello to a couple of people, to Sabah, to Claire Honeyfield, to Fee, and to Catalin. My amazing guest today, Phill Tommy, stunt man. He's making films. He's doing all kinds of stuff. Most recently in Gangs of London, and we're sharing a bit about that. If we take it back to the film and violence generally, I know people have really picked up on that. Do you feel it's really been a way to partly promote the film, even though it's great to promote the series, even though it's a great series anyway, and I'm getting into it now? Or is it a legitimate conversation we should be having? Because if we look at directors historically, like, I don't know, Quentin Tarantino and so on, violence has been a major theme of some of these massive blockbusters that people love. Yeah. And across the board, from franchises like Star Wars to the Avengers and so on, there is going to be conflict, there's going to be battle. What are your thoughts on that?
No, you know what, mate, I think like the directors, there were three main directors. So Gareth Evans, Corin Hardy, and Xavier Gens. And the thing that I noticed about them and their past work, but they have an intelligence about them, and the violence is always part of the story. It's not like stick a fight scene in here for the sake of it, you know. It's warranted, and the motivations are always interesting. I was speaking to the main stunt coordinator the other day on Messenger, and I was talking about this, and I was like, you know, it is all the fight scenes, especially in Gangs of London, they're all motivated by love, and I feel that's the same in life anyway. You know, be it love of somebody that you've lost or may lose, love of money, lack of love for yourself. There's always that in there, and I think, you know, that's why I think the difference is in Gangs of London, especially. And look at Shakespeare, right? I go back to I'm doing a monologue at the moment, Titus Andronicus, hyper violent, but people wouldn't bat an eyelid. Oh, Shakespeare, it's fine. It's the same shit. Look at Julius Caesar. You know, these things are all, you know, violence is part of us. I think part of humanity. When we watch violence, we're sort of like drawn to it. Maybe there's some kind of primeval part of us that just, you know, that kind of like enjoys the spectacle of it. But I think it's how it's put across that matters. So if it's mindless, pointless rubbish, then I've got no time for that. But if the motivation behind it comes from a more honourable place, then I'm fine with it. You know, like again, years ago I used to cage fight, but everyone I was there with, everyone I was fighting against were great people. You know, they train hard and they're martial arts, and you want to fight. But I used to hate fighting on the doors. I used to hate it because I would feel terrible at the end of the day. You know, you were just like, having to do it outside there. It's almost like there's no honour in it. But in the cage, it felt fine. And I feel it's the same when it comes to film and TV. As long as the motivations behind it are fine, then I've got no problem with it. Something to do, you know.
I hear that, man. I wanted to share a question in from Fee. How long have you been a stuntman for, and what made you decide to go that route?
Well, I'm actually not a stuntman. I've never been a stuntman. I was training for the stunt register, but I got injured about maybe 2013, tore my bicep, and then my son was born, so my training kind of stopped. My money went elsewhere, so I never actually made it to be a stuntman. But luckily, I was able to work with stunt teams, you know, if needed, because I could do some things, and there's not many taller big black guys on the register. So fortunately, sometimes I'm able to work as a stunt guy.
Bro, you're being super humble, man. You've been in a shed load of films. Talk to us about the films you've been in, bro.
Well, the biggest ones are probably, so Gangs of London has been amazing. All the way throughout. The directors are great. The stunt team are amazing. Really humble guys. King Arthur was awesome with Guy Ritchie. That was amazing. Eunice Hullard and all these, again, these legends. Mike Lambert doing the fight coordination. He was just like a, you know, stunt legend. He's works on a Jackie Chan stunt team and all this other amazing stuff. What else was there? Oh, Ben-Hur in Rome was sick. Yeah, it's been a lot.
I was like having one of them nights where I was looking for a movie, pull something out, and I think it was The Governor, where you were playing. You had a fight with a guy in a pool hall, and you had like a.
Yeah, yeah, that was what was that called now? That was the Lenny. I forget the guy's name now.
Yeah,
that was Tony Lucken got me on that. The legend, Tony Lucken.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that film actually.
Yeah, it's a good film. Yeah, it's a good film. My name is Lenny. It was called. My name is
Lenny. Of course, yeah.
It's an amazing movie.
I'm the governor. Love that film.
That guy was sick. You know, he was such a good performance.
Yeah.
Underrated. He's so well.
Yeah.
So well.
I've got another question in for you. How do you maintain discipline around physical fitness during lockdown?
God, I don't know. I'm trying. you know what? It's tough, man. I think it's tough, but um, it makes it easier having a son because he's just really active. So like we're always out, go for our walks, and then get our exercise in. And around the house, he's really active as normal. So I think for me, like up until maybe a week and a half ago, I was eating everything, couldn't stop, and it was bizarre, man. And then I kind of like, then I realized that like I was giving myself a hard time over it, and I think it's the worst thing I can do. And it depends on, again, you have to like really know yourself. For me, the worst thing I can do is do that because I just get into a deeper hole with it. You know what I mean? It's like, cool, it's done. It is what it is. Just stop now and and fix it. But yeah, I think it's just trying to set goals maybe, and also not seeing this as just as being like the end of it all. We're stuck in here for like the rest of the year. It's like, oh, we'll be out soon. So just trying to stay as normal as possible in terms of like what I intake, and also being busy, because even though we're stuck in the house, I'm probably busier than I normally am. Because I'm just writing a lot more, and and editing a lot more, and doing a lot of stuff. And that's what I think can be the hardest part when it comes to physical activity. It's just that change, a massive shift in routine,
Yeah.
and that can really mess up your mojo a bit. So even if it's something completely unrelated, even if you're like learning how to, I don't know, whatever, play the keyboard, speak, learn Spanish or whatever, anything, just to have that set sort of like distraction throughout your day that can maybe make you think, or
Absolutely.
stuff,
No, I'm totally glad that you shared that, because one of the things that we've been doing is a practice called Savers. And I just want to say, actually, before we get into that, Claire Hunterfield has said, this is exactly what I did last weekend. Stop now and fix it and move on.
Yeah.
And Zaga, thanks for joining the chat. Zaga's got a question for you. I just wanted to mention, with regards to routine, we've been doing this practice from the Miracle Morning by a guy called Hal Elrod, and we've adapted it. And it's 10 minutes of silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing every day before we do anything. And that just allows a time to connect with ourselves, figure out some new targets, and just feel good and create some consistency as we inch towards whatever goals we have in mind. And a lot of people have really benefited from that in the group. So if you have any other tips around how you deal with stress and keeping a routine and not beating yourself up, because we all do that.
Yeah, well, again, mate, like we spoke the other day, when it comes to stress, coming from a certain background, it's a very different kind of stress that it feels very different. It's like having to defend yourself as a kid feels very different to being locked in my flat. So I can never, it doesn't have the weight for me. It doesn't have the weight for me, it just feels, but that doesn't take away from the magnitude of the situation, because it's crazy. But I just have to always, again, like I say, be mindful and think about times where you've come through some major stuff and be like, you know what, this is shit, but it could be a hell of a lot worse. As simple as that sounds, that's just the only way I can sort of like deal with it, Because what's the alternative? Is to not, and then that hole widens, and before you know it, you're languishing. But also the people I speak to, like yourself, a good friend of mine, Nicole, my stepdaughter Sophie. There's so many people that I know that are really, really positive, and we all have ups and downs, obviously. But same as would be if I was outside of this place. It's like surrounding yourself, be it physically or mentally, with people that only can only contribute positivity. Anyway, if there's any kind of naysayers, people just fuck them off. They serve no purpose. You know what I mean? And I mean, if someone's got like an issue, then that's different. You want to help them out, of course you do. But if you look at some people and they'll only contact you to unload on you, and that you can't, as alien as it feels, you can't have them around you. You can't. Well, you can, but you're going to suffer for it. And then who's going to help you? It's again, like you say, there's people around me we're all up days and down days, and that is fine. But it's like there should be more support for each other than you just being like, you know, a sounding block, because it's too unhealthy for anybody, isn't it? You know, it's not good.
Absolutely. I have a question from Zago Jones. He says, how much creative freedom do you usually have in terms of choreographing a fight scene when it comes to the director's vision?
Well, in my own stuff, all of it, because you know because it's my own stuff. But at the same time, you know, there's people who helped me out before. Kelly, you know Kelly now, French guy, the Wiz,
Yep.
call him. You know, he's amazing. So you know,
He's a great guy. I have to speak him up, man. Such a lovely guy.
he's an amazing guy, hyper talented, hyper humble, and just, you know, just an amazing person to have around. So if they're on set, then hey guys, if you got you know, if you got anything to say, then all good. When it comes to bigger shows, the guys that are hiring me are so much more advanced than I am. You know, it's, I mean, so Gangs of London, Julie Poyer, guy has done everything. You know, he's worked with, again, Jackie Chan, Donnie Yen, and to work over there as a stunt guy in the Asian market is fucking tough, you know. But he's been successful at it and he's smashing it over here. So there could be nothing that I could really say, because there will be nothing to say. You know, the level of just, they are just so far beyond. And it's actually, when I'm around those kind of people, the amount I learn,
yeah,
is just phenomenal, you know. But I'm interested in all aspects of it. So I'll talk to the writers, I'll talk to the DOPs, I'll talk to the grips. I'm like a sponge, because it's, you know, because that's what I'm there for, really, to do my job as well as I can. But also my payoff is to be able to gain knowledge from other places. But to answer the question, on the big budget stuff, you know, they know it.
but going back to you creating your own projects, I remember seeing images of it, well, like videos and clips of you going off to Cannes, trying to move things forward and so on, and you showing bits of the trailer and so on. Can you talk us through the process, for those that may be interested in creating their own films, but in terms of how it was for you getting the funding and getting the final thing made? It's such a tough journey.
It is. I mean, but for me, I just realized that I had to do it. Got a little boy, and I want to get to a certain place, but I'm gonna get to a certain place. But the only way I can do that is if I really knuckle down. And it's like, I've always been of the mindset that it's like by any means possible. Oh, sorry, by any means necessary. Sorry. So it's like whatever has to be done has to be done. So again, first of all, starting the writing process. I've always loved writing, so that's I love that part more than anything. To be honest with you, it's my favorite part of the whole process. So get the script sorted out, then reach out to your cast. You know, find your cast, locations, and then just getting it done. And again, the amount of people that have helped me, like when Cain and Abel's the first one I made, locations are all free. People just were willing to help me from it, you know. What happened? So many things, so many crazy synchronistic things happened. And this is it, you know, whether you believe in God or the universe, you know, I'm like a universe kind of guy, right? But it's like when things are lining up, then it will happen for you. I honestly believe that, because so many crazy things. Like my the first day of shooting Cain and Abel, my car broke down. It, as in like terminal, right? Terminally broke down, and I was like, shit. Next day, I posted a picture on Facebook. I was like, oh my god, my car, your car's, you know, ruined. A guy reached out to me from high school, and he said, what did he say now? I can't remember what he said to me, but it was like, you know, you helped me out years ago, and I got a car you can have.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That kind of thing is just ridiculous, and that's happened throughout every single stage of filming I've done, all the time. Whatever obstacle happens, something happens out of my control, that fixes it, you know.
Amazing.
And this is why I can never worry if like that's happened or this has happened. It's like, it doesn't matter, just keep pushing forward. You know, here's the end goal, is to get this film done. However you're gonna do it, just just keep going forward, and It has to happen. If you push long enough, it has to happen. It has to. As long as you're pushing in the right direction.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's important to have people around you that will tell you if you're not. Well, I mean, not that you should believe everyone around you anyway, but if you trust the people around you and trust them to have your best interest and not tell you anything from any negative motivation, then yeah, I hope that, you know, then they can tell you if you're off course or whatever, you know. But so far, it's been good. It's been good. But yeah, you know, we took that to Cannes, first of all, Cain and Abel, and it was actually pointless going to Cannes with Cain and Abel. But at the same time, it did me a massive favour because I met some guys over there, two producers, Jed Shun and Glenn Kirby, and they cast me in a film in Barbados for like 2 months. So as a result of that, so again, it's weird, you know, like you have these ideas and it's like, okay, if I do this and then do that, this might happen, but it might not happen, but something else will happen, which is why you're being led there in the first place, you know. So it's like, there's this, you know, we have this sort of like, we can never truly second guess how God, universe, whatever it is works, but it works. as long as you believe that, you know, that by pushing forward, then you'll get there, then things will happen and come into place that will make that work, you know?
So I just want to say to everyone that's locked in, this is a friend of mine, Phill Tommy, doing great stunts in films and so on, and creating his own films, and really sharing on everything from the industry right through to mindset, and absolutely loving it today. Fee Cakes has just said alignment as a comment to what you were saying, and Zega Sound just says what a great mindset this gentleman has, and it leads me nicely to really what I love seeing pop up on my timeline from time to time is you and your son just having a good time.
Yeah, he's the best, man. Really, he's the best.
Talk to us about that, man, because you totally destroyed this narrative that black men in particular are not around for their kids, but it's just great to see you having fun with him and seeing him growing with you as a role model, and you know what I mean?
You know, there was this Henrik Ibsen quote that stuck with me for years. The sins of the father are revisited unto the children, right? And it's like, again, going back to our background, I think about our, you know, our parents and stuff, and my dad was like a, you know, it was like, you know, a bit of a douchebag, right? So I was always so adamant that I would give him what I'll give him what every kid deserves. But the thing is, when he came, he gives me so much more. You know, he's amazing. And everyone says that about their kids, I know that. But it's next level. And I do think things happen for a reason. So I got injured years ago, and then he came along, and I was going to work and then coming back, and then when I got home, his mum would rest and I would have Xavier. And you know, like when like a newborn baby, lack of sleep, you know, crazy. And I was so tired, and I was holding him, and I was like, you know what I want to do? I need to keep myself focused. So I started to write. And my first script came literally from writing it, typing it on my iPhone whilst holding my son over like about a month, you know?
Wow.
So it's like, that's him.
Wow.
It's all him, you know?
Love that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, you mentioned something about toxic energy in your space and getting rid of it. And I just wanted to touch on that briefly, because it made me think of a time where I personally also I don't really have a great relationship with my dad. I don't want it to be in my environment because I feel his energy is toxic and it's not a good thing to have. And growing up, there were a lot of things he did that I didn't like. Right. And it's now as an adult, I kind of recognize, aside from some people just being totally selfish or narcissists or sociopaths and all the rest of it, some people just don't know what to do. It's just beyond their capabilities. And I feel when someone's your parent, you kind of look at them as a superhero and you expect certain things, right? But sometimes what we expect, they're just not capable of giving. Right. And it took me a long time to figure that out. And that's extended across relationships with ex-partners and so on. Friends, having this expectation and letting go of it.
Yeah.
You know? And I just wondered what your thoughts were around that.
Do you remember the Crow, Brandon Lee?
Yeah.
one girl's mum, she's like a heroin addict, and he kind of holds her hand, and all the juice comes out, and he's like, "Mother is the word for God. No, mother is the name for God on the lips of all children." And it's like, shit, it's fucking true, you know. But then, like you say, maybe that's too high a standard to hold people up to. Same time, and this is part of me, maybe I need to work on. But when I see my son, I'm like, I couldn't imagine not giving him what he needs. So it's a strange one, mate. It really is, man, because it's like, you know, what does it take, you know, for you to switch on, or it's like a life. What more motivation do you need to sort your shit out? So yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one, mate. Strange one for me. Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing on that. Is there anything else you'd like to share about projects that are coming up and anything like that?
Yeah, at the moment, so I made I've written a new feature called Eviction. No, online. I've written a short called Eviction. My feature is called Influence. So I'm casting that at the moment. Any actors out there want to audition, let me know. It's going to be really cool. It's based upon Divine Comedy. So it's like Dante's Inferno, but it's told around a real sort of like stately home, and like we go into like the aristocrats and a lot of deeper, darker things. But it plays out like a comedy, but underneath it, there's like a whole of a thing going on. That's the main thing I'm focusing on at the moment, to be honest with you. So yeah, I'm trying to basically get that ready, so when lockdown ends, we can start shooting it with my good friend Gary Rogers, great DOP. So I have him on board, and yeah, just get cracking. Film around Birmingham. Film Birmingham, head of Film Birmingham, lady called Cindy Campbell. I'm not sure if you know her, but she's amazing, man. You know, she came to Ready Player One when they came to Birmingham. All these massive films, you know, she was instrumental in getting that sorted out. So having her in our corner is really good. Apart from that, I've just written a script for Cali as well. So they're doing one. Yeah, there's a few things going on, just juggling a lot of things really, which is the way I like it. Yeah.
And any website information people need to know about, or?
No website, but Big Phill Tommy on Instagram and also Twitter, or Philip Ray Tommy on Facebook. Or just find me on Always Friends. It's just where you find me on there.
So, bro, what I'm going to do is wrap it up here, and then we'll continue talking for a moment. But we're going to leave the Facebook Live. Everyone that tuned in, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your questions. Zega, Fee, Claire, everyone. And we'll be back with some more amazing guests for you over the next few weeks. Phil, big up. Really appreciate that.
Cheers. Thank you.